call it the Augusta of motorsports. It is Barber Motorsports Park, the most picturesque racetrack in North America. We're of course, here this weekend. A Friday race, a doubleheader for the USF Juniors, the opening step of the USF Pro Championships. Hello, race fans. My name is Rob Howden. Looking forward to being here all day at Barber Motorsports Park. First time ever, we've got a local driver, though, who's going to be running with us. Michael Succo here from Birmingham, Alabama for VRD Racing. Michael, your first time racing at home, a little bit more pressure, your first year in the series. Just tell me what it's like to be able to race here at Barber.
It's been really great. You know, we have so many people coming out, so many supporters. It's great to be with everybody, get to see everybody, show them around. You know, it's not such a popular sport down here, so it's great to see all the locals, all the people coming out, you know, experiencing this for the, you know, what's it, the 10th time maybe now? So, yeah, it's a really great experience. It's a really great track. Obviously, like you said, it's the Augusta National Racetracks. It's such a beautiful place, and I'm really blessed to be here.
Obviously here with USF Juniors, a great field this year, 27 drivers on the grid. Your weekend's been kind of up and down. You've been finding speed, but you had a bit of an off yesterday. Tell me what happened on track.
Yeah, so, you know, as far as the off, we're not 100% sure what went wrong. We think it was a good mix of things. We think initially going into the corner, you know, I was flat, and then a little bit to about a 40% lift, and then I just came all the way off, and then I broke, and then I had a downshift. So the car pitches forward, and my right front actually, we think, got on the curb as well, and all of that just led to a little bit of a snap. And then I caught it, and at that point it was really unrecoverable. I was a bit of a passenger, and, you know, I just had to take the shunt. So
we don't normally run a morning warm-up. We had that earlier here today. That really kind of benefited you to get it back on the racetrack and kind of shake out the cobwebs and feel how the car was. How did morning warm-up go, and what are your thoughts on the race today?
Yeah, it was really good, you know, to be back in the car after they had fixed it up, get to see, you know, what the changes were, you know, see if anything was wrong with the car. You know, I had to miss test 1 yesterday as well due to a brake failure, so I had, you know, only had test 2. The car wasn't great. We made a change, and then 3 laps into practice, you know, I had my shunt. So I haven't had a lot of track time, so to be able to have that this morning was really, really great, get to feel out the car a bit. You know, it was a little bit scary, you know, getting back in after a big crash like that, but, you know, we got up to pace really quickly, so yeah, I think we'll be good for the race. I'm really excited, you know, to show what I can do. You know, going to be at the back of the grid. I missed qualifying yesterday, which is really, really disappointing. You know, this is a big race for me, but it's not my first time. You know, there was a wreck, an incident in front of me at NOLA. I got sent to the back, so, you know, I've done it before. I fought back, so I'm here to show what I can do.
Yeah, learning-wise, starting at the back's not the worst thing in the world. You get a chance to pass a bunch of cars, but you're going to do a lot of running today. What's the expectations? What's the goal? Are we trying to maybe top 15? Is that the thought?
Absolutely. You know, it's going to be difficult to fight our way up from the back. Barber's not really a track where there's a lot of places to pass, but like I said, it's my home track. I've driven pretty well here before, so yeah, I think top 15, top 10 would be a great result for the team, for me as well. You know, all in all, it's going to be a good weekend, a lot of experience for me, a lot of passing, a lot of really close racing, so I'm really excited.
A lot of family, friends, sponsors with you here this weekend?
A lot, yeah. We've got the Body Armor people, the Racing for Children's people, the Marinos Market as well. It's a market here, supermarkets in Inslee, Alabama, so you know, there's so many people coming out, school, friends, and things like that to support me, so it's just a really great community all around, a lot of people that, you know, I love and that I'm close to, so it's been really great.
Yeah, only his second event of the season here, second as a rookie in USF Juniors as well. A big one here at Barber Motorsports Park for Michael Succo. But again, we talk about USF Juniors, USF 2000, USF Pro 2000, USF Juniors and USF 2000. Very similar race cars, all about the development of drivers moving up the ladder. We had a chance to talk to a couple of good folks about the differences between the USF Juniors car and the USF 2000 machine. One of the core components of the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tire is the usage of the Tatis chassis in all 3 levels, USF Juniors, USF 2000, and USF Pro 2000. The 2000 car and the Juniors car very similar from front to back, but there are some differences between the 2 cars. Here at J. Howard Driver Development with Joe Hidalgo. Joe, let's talk about some of the differences between the 2 cars. It's not a lot. It's a very similar race car.
Yeah, very, very similar. The Junior car is made to be the economical entry-level jump from karting straight to cars. So the main component of it is the dampers and uprights. So that's the wheel bearing brakes assembly. And then the dampers are another economic version of just pretty much the same damper, just a different way of doing things. Keeps all the costs down, keeps everything a lot easier to work on as well. The new cars come with the Morelli system on it. They're restricted a little bit more, but other than that, it's pretty much the same car. A couple of our cars get swapped back and forth between the 2. You know, it takes about a handful of hours to really do it. Within a day, you can have both of them ready to go for USF 2000.
Let's talk a bit about the restrictor in that engine. It's still the same Elite engine. The restrictor, it brings it down, the horsepower down to about 140 horsepower. Talk about how maybe you have to work with the drivers to challenge themselves when they're on that level of horsepower.
You could challenge them a bit more, but the actual speed you get into the braking zones a little bit less. You don't get the acceleration out the corners as you would in 2000 or Indy Pro.
One of the key things is obviously trying to develop these young drivers coming through. You guys have had a chance now. Of course, this car, the Tadish JR23, came out last year. You've now transitioned drivers through juniors up to 2000. What's it been like? How easy has that transition been? Really, you're only changing a bit with the car.
Yeah, I mean, the drivers really hop straight to USF 2000 and up to pace pretty quick. That's been the best part for us. Instead of coming from another series where you're driving a completely different car, completely different feel, completely different braking, you're going from a car that has the same brake pedal feel, the same engine, the same kind of steering feel. Everything's the same feel. It's just faster.
Again, we're all about driver development here in the USF Pro Championships, and as we know, when you go higher, levels up, you're going to get more horsepower, more downforce, whatever it may be. Downforce the same for juniors and USF 2000. That helps so much with the transition. The Tadish JR23 debuted last year in 2023, so now we're into 2024. We do have a number of drivers who have had a chance to drive both the USF Juniors car and the USF 2000 car. This year alone, Jack Jeffers, who joins me here from Exclusive Autosport, so obviously started the year in USF Juniors, but also ran St. Pete in USF 2000. So, Jack, you're a perfect guy to talk to. What's it like? What's the difference between these two race cars?
There's not much of a difference. You know, there's little differences like different uprights, bigger brakes, 30 more horsepower I think it is, or a decent amount more horsepower. And then the racing's different too. You bring some different racing. You know, since these cars, the junior cars are slower, the racing is maybe a little bit more tight and compact. But the actual car is the same chassis, same aero package, same tires. You just got a little bit more horsepower. You got better brakes and different uprights.
It's interesting in talking to the drivers who ran juniors and 2000. The car's a bit slower, but the brakes are still pretty good. So you're actually braking even later probably than the USF 2000 car because you're not bringing as much speed into the corner.
Yeah, you're going slow into the corner so you can brake that much deeper. But the brakes on the 2000 car are better, so even though you're riding with more speed, you can still send it in there and brake pretty deep.
Now you've run both cars, so you're back in focusing on USF Juniors this year. Pretty excited to get fully into the USF 2000 car next year?
Well, I'm excited. I think the 2000 car fit me really well at St. Pete, and I think with proper testing on my belt, we'll be really fast.
This program's about driver development. You've obviously done juniors. How did juniors prepare you to get into the 2000 car?
It makes you think a little bit more about your decisions and, you know, strategy-wise, you know, if one guy's really fast, you know, juniors will teach you to stay in a pack and work together to make sure that leader doesn't get away. And in 2000, I think it's going to pay dividends in 2000. You know, if somebody's really fast, we're going to be able to work together and not let that leader get away.
Step by step, this program is about developing these drivers, giving them more tools as they work their way up all the way to USF Pro 2000. If they win the championship, a scholarship to go to Indy next.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100.
We could not ask for a much better day here at Barber Motorsports Park to kick off what is the second round for the drivers in the USF Juniors program presented by Continental Tire. And again, those of you trackside here, welcome. My name's Rob Howden, the voice of this program. Great to be here today. I'll be joined in the booth by one of our drivers from USF 2000, a veteran of the USF Juniors program, Quinn Armstrong from D-Force Racing out of Australia. He'll be joining me. We'll bring him in here in a bit. We're getting set to go. Beautiful day here right now, 71 degrees trackside. And as we always do, we welcome those of you who are tuning in on the USF Pro Championships YouTube channel or wisely have downloaded the USF Pro app. You can get live timing, all the coverage, watch all the episodes of The Climb, our documentary series, all on the app. Awesome opportunity to be able to follow everything we do here in the USF Pro Championships wherever you are. 27 drivers set to go here right now at Barber Motorsports Park to get things underway on the day. A doubleheader here, a unique Thursday-Friday weekend for the drivers in USF Juniors. We'll have two races here today, and then from there they'll look forward to VIR in the middle of June. A bit of a break for the drivers here in USF Juniors. Some may keep racing and try to jump up to the USF 2000 event. We'll see what happens there. But nonetheless, a fantastic year. 27 drivers, almost double-digit growth for our USF Juniors program, and some great competitors set to go here. 27 were set to roll. We're going to get 26. Starting at the tail of the field, the local driver from Birmingham, Alabama for VRD Racing. It's Michael Succo Jr. He had an off earlier yesterday. Was not able to get on track for qualifying, but he did thankfully get on track for a warm-up, had a good run there to shake out the cobwebs and forget about the incident from Thursday. He will make the start. The driver who won't roll after an incident in that warm-up run, Hudson Potter, the number 4 for J. Howard Driver Development. That team's still working on getting the car repaired after the incident early this morning. I expect to see him back on the racetrack for race number 2 this afternoon. Starting in 26 will be Giovanni Cabrera, the number 93 out of Florida for Exclusive Autosport, while up into the 24th spot. Row number 12 will have Aiden Potter for J. Howard Driver Development. The number 6, the rookie, starting alongside fellow freshman Ava Dobson in the number 5. She's been looking good since the start of the season. Played with the series late last year, ran a couple of races, Road America and the Challenge of the Americas, or the Circuit of the Americas, rather. But Ava Dobson, definitely one to watch here as the only young lady in our USF Pro Championships program here in 2024. We expect a number of female racers to join into the program next year. Many are testing right now, so we may see a couple other female drivers in USF Juniors before the end of the season. Moving now to row number 11 on the outside from Zanella Racing out of Texas, Diego Guillot. Not a lot of experience for this young driver. Number 12, though, for Zanella Racing. Every time he gets on track is an improvement for him. And the driver making his debut here this weekend, 2 times a runner-up in the Skip Barber Formula Car Series, Joshua Leonel out of Texas in the number 15 for D-Force Racing. Skip Barber logo on the side of that car, a partnership with the Skip Barber Racing School. Leonel starting in 21st. Moving now to row number 10 on the outside, Aiden Ingrata, the rookie for J. Howard Driver Development. The Canadian has more speed than 20th, so look for him to work his way forward on a track that is very tough to pass on, that is for sure. From there, we'll move to the inside of that row. Patricio Gonzalez for the D-Force Driver Development Team, a new program here for 2024. Gonzalez out of Mexico starting 19th. We'll go now to row number 9 on the outside. Teddy Musella, another debut for Musella as well for Zanella Racing. Currently leading the points in the F4 U.S. Championship, having him come over here to USF Juniors, the number 13 starting 18th. Alongside him, out of California, G3 Argyros for J. Howard Driver Development. The rookie in the number 3 will roll off from 17th. Up now to row number 8 on the outside from Northern California, just 14 years of age, the youngest driver in the field, Christian Cameron for VRD Racing in the number 70, starting in 16th. Alongside him, Timothy Carell for J. Howard Driver Development in the number 8. Row 7 on the outside from Texas, second-year driver Brady Golan in the number 18 for D-Force Racing, a P14 start. Alongside him, the D-Force Driver Development driver, it will be Rodrigo Gonzalez, the brother of Patricio, the rookie starting 13th in the number 20. We'll go to row number 6. Max Taylor, one of the drivers in the points championship right now. Third in points coming in, coming off 2 podium finishes at the opening round at NOLA Motorsports Park. Taylor for VRD Racing out of New Jersey in the number 33, starting 12th. It was a rough day yesterday, a blown motor. Able to get him going for qualifying, but didn't have things absolutely perfect with the car. He'll start in the 12th spot. Watch for Taylor to attack big time in the 33. Alongside him, the young rookie out of Canada, Anthony Martella. For exclusive Autosports, but a good start of the year for Martella as well, be getting quicker and quicker. The number 95 starting just outside the top 10, inside of row 6 in 11th. Into the top 10, Leonardo Scorpioni, one of our young 14-year-old drivers here, the number 55 for Zanella Racing. He has been really impressive. Scorpioni in 9th place in points after some really good finishes at NOLA Motorsports Park. He'll start 10th alongside Leandro Juncos. It will be a very interesting weekend for Leandro. If you're an IndyCar fan, you know the Juncos name. They've come through the USF Pro Championships, obviously titles in the Indy Next Series, and of course now with Juncos Hollinger Racing in the NTT IndyCar Series. 18 years of age, the son of Ricardo Juncos, the owner of Juncos Hollinger Racing. And not only will Leandro be racing this weekend, he'll also be on the box working with the team and Agustin Canapino throughout the weekend. So it'll be a fun weekend here for Leandro Juncos. We'll go now to row number 4, João Vergara from Brazil for exclusive Autosport in the number 90, starting in the 8th spot. Alongside him, 2nd place in points, a winner from NOLA Motorsports Park. That is Liam McNeely out of London, England, in the J. Howard Driver Development number 9. He'll start in the 7th position. Row number 3 on the outside, Evan Cooley out of Illinois for exclusive Autosport in the number 91. Cooley's had some good runs to start the season as well, some good pace there. 10th place in points coming in, a best finish of 9th at NOLA Motorsports Park. Starting 6th, he'll be looking to try to fight his way up onto the podium in the number 91. Starting on the inside of row number 3, a name, again, well-known for fans of IndyCar racing, Sebastian Weldon for VRD Racing. And the number 98 Gamebridge machine, he is the pole sitter coming, or the point leader coming in. 2 wins and a second at the opening round at NOLA Motorsports Park. Rolling off here from the inside of row number 3. As you know, with the point lead coming in, maybe a little different mindset. Doesn't have to press quite as hard. But any driver is going after a championship is always trying to win. Weldon will try to win from the inside of row number 3. Row number 2 on the outside from Florida, Augusto Soto Sharipa for a brand new team, Inter MS. They've been very strong out of the gate. Inter MS with Soto Sharipa, both P4 and P1 here. Both drivers in the top 4, front 2 rows. Soto Sharipa in the 24, starting 4th. Alongside him, out of San Antonio, Texas, 3 times the winner last year in USF Juniors. For exclusive Autosport, it's the number 92 of Jack Jeffers. Jeffers starting in the 3rd position here. A consistent run at NOLA Motorsports Park, finishes of 6th, 5th, and 7th. He comes in here sitting 6th in points, but a driver used to winning is looking to break the goose egg here for 2024. Jeffers and Soto Sharipa on row number 2. 26 drivers in the field with a 1 scratch. Front row, we'll see Bruno Ribeiro on the outside, the driver out of Brazil, the number 16 for D-Force Racing. A very solid qualifying run for Ribeiro starting on the outside of the front row. But the driver set a new track record of 125.550. In qualifying from Israel, it is Ariel Elkin, a driver who has run top-level international karting, did a little bit of F4 racing overseas last year, but focused here now on the USF Juniors program and most certainly the USF Pro Championships and the scholarship to try to work his way to Indy Next, 1 step away from the NTT IndyCar Series. Ariel Elkin in the number 25 for Inter MS, starting on the pole position. It'll be Elkin and Ribeiro on row 1, Jefferson Soto Sharipa on row 2, Weldon and Cooley on row 3, Liam McNeely and João Vergara on row 4, Juncos and Scorpioni on row 5, Martella and Taylor on row 6. Row 7 will have Gonzalez alongside Golan. Row 8, Carell and Cameron. Row 9, Argyros and Musella. Row 10, Gonzalez alongside Ingrata. Lionel and Guillo, row 11. Dobson and Potter on row number 12. And Cabrera and Succo on row number 13. Well, let's get the opportunity right now to bring in my driver analyst. I mentioned him earlier, Quinn Armstrong, 2nd last year in points in the USF Juniors program. He's made his move up to USF 2000 for 2024. A winner last year at Sebring as he challenged his teammate Nicholas Giaffoni for the title there last year. But into USF 2000 right now, not a win yet, not a podium yet, but 5 straight top 10 finishes. The consistency there for this young driver. Quinn, thanks for joining me. I know I pulled you away from your coaching duties at D-Force Racing, but you've been in the booth with me before. Let's talk about Barber Motorsports Park. You mentioned how much you love the racetrack before we got into the booth here. For a young driver coming in, how hard, what kind of a challenge is this particular racetrack?
Yeah, thank you for having me in, Rob. First, I have to start off with, and thank you for D-Force for letting me do this. Pull away from the main focus for a little bit, but I enjoy being here. This track is awesome. That's the simplest way of me describing it, but for sure it's a big challenge. You know, it's once you qualify, you know that wherever you're starting, it is going to be hard to move from there. So, you know, you have to go big, as the term is in the D-Force trailer. That, you know, you really got to make everything count. So, you know, from the start of the weekend, you know, we talk about in the tests, we need to be there from session 1 because that's really going to help keep you on the front foot the whole weekend. Because if you can continue to develop from the front, it means then you have to close less of a gap, or you don't have to close, or any gap.
Any gap, yeah.
So for sure, that's a big, big part of this weekend. And I think that's the beauty of the schedule in USF Juniors, that you have tracks like this where, you know, you go into it with a different mindset of you have to be there from quali because that's when the race actually starts. Whereas then you look at some other tracks like Road America, you learn a different technique of, okay, maybe we're not on pole, but we can still get there because it's doable at that track. So I think that's really the beauty of the schedule, and it's how so many of these drivers become, you know, more diverse in their racing experience.
Indeed. And one of the things about this track is we know qualifying is crucial. Once we do get the drivers onto the track, I'll provide my keys to the race. But for those of you who may have not been following yesterday, of course, all day Thursday, we had a couple of test sessions. Of course, Quinn talking about the fact you want to roll out of the trailer and get out of onto the track quickly in that opening session because you're building off of a solid foundation where you're kind of starting point. Cars rolling out on the grid. You see the sticker Continental tires on there now for a majority of these drivers. But again, Quinn, it's about starting off quick. But if you're new to the series, it's about building off of your own time. I try to get a lot of the younger drivers who want to see themselves up front. They get frustrated that they're maybe not as close as they can be to the front of the grid with 26, 27 cars now. But if you're further back and you're a rookie, you're 14, 15 years of age, really it's good to focus on yourself and make sure you're always improving as opposed to where you are, say, compared to some of the top drivers up front who have years of experience.
Yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, the truth is this is the development series. You know, it's the first step on the ladder. So it's so crucial that you learn as much as you possibly can. And for everyone, that's a different learning. It's not everyone is learning the same thing because not everyone is at the same level. And that's not me saying that someone is worse than someone. It's just because of what their experience may have been, their background may have been. You know, everyone starts at a different level. And the truth is, in racing, no one sits in this car for the first time and then goes and beats champion, you know, that race. Like, it doesn't work that way. You know, there's so much that goes behind the scenes, just as much as what you see on track. So for sure, that's definitely part of the whole development.
That's it, being told 30 seconds. Yeah, so we're almost set to go. The cars have rolled themselves out onto the grid. Of course, we were right after the drivers in the Radical program, so they had to clear the grid of all the pit techs. Everybody's rolled out for our group as well. 26 drivers in USF Juniors have rolled themselves out on to the pit lane here in this fantastic and gorgeous racetrack. There's the pole sitter right there, Ariel Elkin, fired up and ready to go for Inter MS. Again, this racetrack is a challenge for the young drivers for sure. Undulating racetrack, as we know, the Alabama roller coaster. We'll have a look at the layout here momentarily. But again, for these young drivers, this is the very first step of the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tire. Drivers anywhere from 14 to actually we have a 24-year-old driver in the field here as well. That just getting the opportunity. That's him right there, Augusto Soto Sharipa, with an opportunity to finally get a chance to race a car. Such a tremendous story. Thought his career was over. Had a great run last year. Multi-time winner in F4 U.S. Championship. Thought he was. You know, he was done. He was out of money, wasn't able to go any further. He got into became a firefighter. He was literally going to get set up at one of the fire hall that he really wanted to be with, then got an opportunity with Inter MS. Just that breath of potential air in the career, and this is a great young man, Augusto Soto Sharipa, and a talent for sure. But so 14 to 24 years of age, most drivers, they were from 14 to probably 16 or 17 in this field. But again, the very first step in this program, they're getting ready to roll out here for what should be a tremendous battle here in USF Juniors. The Continental Tire Grand Prix of Alabama. It's a 20-lapper, but we've got a 40-minute time window. So if we do have any issues on track, we could potentially go red to preserve track time because that's what it's all about for these young drivers. As they roll off the grid, we got a couple little bits we're going to do here as we roll out here. Let's have a look first at my keys to the race because there are some keys to what you need to be successful here at Barber Motorsports Park. First and foremost, qualifying is king. Barber Motorsport Park, probably the most difficult track on our circuit to pass. The downhill turn 5 hairpin really being the best opportunity. This makes qualifying so incredibly crucial. You have to line up in the right spot because where you line up is very similar to where you're going to finish. It's just that hard to pass here. I will say passing comes from the lap 1 attack. The opening lap here is going to be the best opportunity for drivers to make up positions. But yeah, listen, you can always end your race early, and that's not what you need here. You got to take advantage of the chaos at the start that we often get because it can quickly change the driver's outlook on the race. And last but not least, patient pressure. In other words, with overtaking being so difficult here, drivers, you've got to put the pressure on the driver in front of you. You have to see if you can't force them into making a mistake. So the pressure has to be relentless. But when the opportunity arises, you got to pounce quickly because you might not get another chance. So you have to be patient, but the pressure has to be relentless the entire time. So those are my keys to the race right now. Let's have a look at the track itself as the drivers work their way out of this parts of this racetrack. This is such a challenging track. That's out of the downhill 7 and 8. Big turn 1 down to the left-hander, back up the hill, as we know, to 2, 3, 4, the Alabama roller coaster. The elevation changes is insane. Straightaway down into the downhill braking turn number 5, Charlotte's Web. The left-hand hairpin is crucial. It will be the place to pass on this racetrack. Another straightaway back up to that, essentially a kink 6 and the 7-8 combination. This is the back part of the racetrack here where you have a couple of combinations, high commitment, high-speed corners leading into the back part of the racetrack where, once again, we get a ton of elevation, unbelievably tough through those parts of the racetrack, and, of course, through the final couple of corners, 11, 12, and 13, setting up for the run back down on the front straightaway. Let's have a quick look at the points as we get ready to roll here. Sebastian Weldon, as I said, at 90 points coming in after 3 podium finishes and 2 wins at NOLA Motorsports Park. Liam McNeely back by just 9 points at 81. Then further back, Max Taylor third, Ariel Elkin, your pole sitter, in fourth, looking to try to see if he can't come up with something big. And then, of course, Vinicius Tesaro and Jack Jeffers were tied for fifth coming in. Tesaro no starter. So Jeffers will move up into the 5th place in points. We're about set to roll for a 20-lap or 40-minute time window. Time to go racing, folks, here at Barber Motorsports Park. 13 rows of USF Juniors card. Good start, everyone into position, and we are green, green, green. Racing down into turn number 1 and a fantastic jump down into turn number 1 for the leader. And indeed, a great job there for Jack Jeffers. He's able to get by Bruno Ribeiro from the inside of row number 3, or rather row 2. So move Jeffers up into second, but a fantastic start for Ariel Elkin, taking advantage of being the pole sitter. He's the one that punches off first. Ribeiro had to wait for him to go, and that actually worked out well. Ribeiro, they'll go into work as they come down to turn number 5, trying the outside line. You see Jeffers on the inside, Ribeiro on the outside, and that's one of the parts of this racetrack. And we'll come and talk to Quinn Armstrong about this. You can run the outside line coming through the hairpin. You can get enough of a run out of that corner to potentially beat the guy to the apex or the exit point coming out of that corner. Ribeiro, though, getting attacked a little bit here by Augusto Soto Sharipa because he's got Weldon inside him. Weldon trying to make a move by it. He's gone back a couple of spots, I think, coming over to this 7-8 complex. This downhill, very tough, almost corkscrew-style part of that racetrack that leads onto the back straight. And there's the lead right now for Ariel Elkin, the driver from Israel for Inter MS. Out to a lead. Will we get our 3rd winner on the season? Already victories for Weldon and McNeely. We'll give you at least a top 10 rundown when they come back around here again. But a good start here on the opening circuit for drivers in USF Juniors. One driver going way off the racetrack coming through that part of the corner, turn number 11 and 12. And there's wing damage there. Someone has got some contact. Another driver going over top of the wing. We may see a yellow for that wing, although it's not right in the racing line. It is in the middle of the racetrack. So someone's lost a wing coming on the straightaway. We'll try to pick that up quickly here. I'm looking further back in the grid. I can't see it now. So somebody potentially up front. There's an issue coming over turn number 1. A couple of drivers struggling with the exit of turn number 1, pushing way up the track, and that's the driver with the missing front wing. So that is one of the drivers for Jay Howard Driver Development. I'll try to pick them up as they come down here to figure out which driver it was. Further back in the field, there it is there. It looks like the number 8. Yeah, the number 8 with the issue there. That will be Timothy Carell, who has lost the wing on the Fast Toys Club. Jay Howard Driver Development, Tatis, have not yet gone to full course yellow with that wing. It's off the racing line over in turn number 12. We'll see whether or not the series elects. There's the wing right there, as you can see outside the line. I don't know whether or not we'll let this go and see if they can't come through there. But at this point here, as they run on the racetrack, race directors will let them run as long as they possibly can. Let them kind of sort things out. That's what we've got going on here now. Elkin with the lead, Jefferson to second, Ribeiro third. Yeah, there's the full course now. You can see them coming through there. And, yeah, while it's outside the race line, all it will take was some driver to push through that corner, get across onto that, cut a tire, and end up off the racetrack. So, indeed, we are a full course yellow, but we'll be going right back at it. And I would bet, yeah, there comes Carell. Timothy Carell is going to get an opportunity to put a new wing on it and get back out onto the racetrack. This will be a very, very short yellow. So let's quickly run through the field, and then we'll get back to Quinn. Ariel Elkin, P1, Jack Jefferson second, Bruno Ribeiro third, Augusto Soto Sharipa in fourth, Evan Cooley in fifth, Liam McNeely in seventh, eighth Leandro Juncos, he's up a spot, ninth Joao Vergara, 10th is Max Taylor, he's up a couple of positions, Anthony Martella in 12th, Teddy Musella gets himself up into 13th, he started 18th, so +5 on the opening lap for Musella. G3 Argero's up a couple of spots as well into 14th. Brady Golan 15th. Aiden Ingrata, Rodrigo Gonzalez, Joshua Leonel, Aiden Potter, and Christian Cameron rounding out the top 20. So there, the chaos I expected happened. Full course yellow. Hopefully we'll go back to green here quickly. And it won't take much to get the that wing out of the way from the AMR IndyCar safety team. But, man, let's take the opportunity here, Quinn, very quickly to talk about the opening lap of this racetrack. You know how hectic it's going to be. I mentioned in my keys to the race, the lap one attack. One driver coming up pretty big time, Teddy Musella, but the opening lap is the opportunity to attack as drivers are kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, for sure. With the cold tires, it produces a bit easier, I believe, to make this overtake that you have to do, especially if you're deeper in the pack. So this is one of the things that I told the drivers before I came here, is our best chance is on cold tires. So whether it's the start or now after this yellow, the restart, this is the best chance you're going to have. And it's the drivers that capitalize on these restarts that are going to go home happy,
Yeah.
So it's for sure something you want to do. And it's so crucial now, as you see, the drivers weave in that you must build enough temp to be the guy who's ready to attack.
You see that brand new car pacing our 26 car field. It's a beautiful new Honda Civic Type R pace car, the most powerful Honda production vehicle ever sold in the U.S. with a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine producing an incredible 315 horsepower. Awesome to have them with us. It takes off to head back to pit lane. We're excited to have Honda on board with us, and we'll talk more about that Civic Type R that is our new pace car partner. Thrilled to be working again with Honda. Drivers all chasing after a scholarship worth over $263,000 to move to USF 2000 in 2025. Green flag flying quickly, coming out of the final couple of corners, and right on the loud pedal goes Ariel Elkin, and then Inter MS handles the restart just as well as he handled the start. Good jump as well for Jack Jeffers. And again, Ribeiro, Soto Sharipa, Cooley, McNeely all settling in for the battle. Looks like it might have been a little bit of a wide run for Cooley coming out of turn number 1. Yeah, looks like he's getting challenged pretty aggressively from behind. He was pushing hard coming through there, but otherwise everybody coming cleanly through. You see the beautiful white, black, and yellow Zanella cars, easy to pick up. That is a Scorpione now in 11th. Cooley's now going to work on Soto Sharipa, thinking about the outside. Can't quite get it done down into turn number 5. Tucks back onto the gearbox. Opening couple of laps, and I know it's tough for every driver to think about this because through the opening couple of laps, Quinn, you got your head down. You're trying to attack. But if you just give yourself time to remember, if you're up front and you give it a couple laps, you're stretched away from everybody behind you, right? Whether or not you're going to finish first, second, or third, the longer you go into a race, the less you're going to lose if something happens, right? Because the field will eventually string itself out.
Yeah, it's going to build a gap. It's the nature of this track. The gap is going to get even bigger because it is hard to follow. So now you're probably going to start seeing these gaps form. So yeah, it's just about getting as deep into it as you can. Let's
pinpoint a couple of those corners. You mentioned it's tough to follow. Not a lot of aerodynamic downforce built by the wings we have on this car, but there is enough, at least, and you know from driving it last year, at a track like Barber with some of the long sweeping corners, you do get a bit of aero wash. Can you point out some of the corners that may be the toughest?
Yeah, so obviously with the aero wash, you're losing a couple points of downforce, so struggle with a bit of grip, and it's typically high-speed corners like what they're going through now. Turn 2 and 3, it's sort of the same corner, but we count it as 2. You can find that it's very hard to follow. Just as it happened, as you were talking about, Evan Cooley tried to go around the outside of Soto Sharipa coming through turn number 1, and it's not that hard to kind of lose the car, and then once you're off to the outside of the outside curbing, coming back on track, I think he lost a position to Liam McNeely. Yeah, as we call it, the point of no return. So you go to there. That's your fate.
Indeed.
So yeah, it's just these high-speed, long corners. That's really where you find that you're going to lose points of downforce, and then you're relying on the mechanical grips of the tires. But then you can overheat the tire, and then you're in double trouble. So that's for sure another thing you got to have in your mind.
There's so many layers of it, right? The success you see, and especially when you're behind somebody, it's trouble. Right now, Jack Jeffers working his tail off to try to work his way forward. You see the interesting colors for Jack Jeffers. The front wing and the rear wing don't really match the rest of the car. Right before qualifying yesterday, after the final practice session, or the official practice, they weren't able to they had some issues with the car, couldn't quite figure it out, pulled a backup car out of the trailer. The team, 6-7 people on top of that car getting it ready to go. They put the wings on the car that they had on Jack's other car, and of course it looks a little bit like a menagerie, but the bottom line is Jack Jeffers able to go out and go super quick, P2 in his group right behind Ariel Elkin, and he is taking that backup car to P2 right now. The point leader is Sebastian Weldon, but he is back in the 7th position. I think that's one of the interesting things. Obviously at NOLA Motorsports Park, everybody saw Sebastian qualify well, win a couple of races, take a solid 9-point lead out of that event. And in the mind is like, and I always tell people, don't jump to conclusions. It happens at St. Petersburg as well. But he's like, yeah, you win at St. Petersburg, you're going to win the championship. That doesn't, in fact, St. Petersburg, it goes the other direction. A lot of the times if you won there, you don't end up winning the championship. But Quinn, talk about the different racetracks and about how teams are good at different racetracks. Drivers are good at different racetracks. Obviously, VRD, Sebastian, super good out of the gates at NOLA. But, man, every track's a bit different and kind of suits each driver.
Yeah, for sure. It's so many things that go into it, so many things. And there's so many things that, from a fan perspective, that you don't see. So, from my perspective, obviously, being in my team, I know what it is like for my team. But then there's other teams where it's a different perspective again that I don't know about. So there's always a guessing game, and you can look at sometimes the history, but things change. And obviously, with the Continental tire coming in now, it's going to change again. Indeed. There's probably a good chance that now we shake up and we go, okay, well, who's going to be fast? Because it's about maximizing this new tire.
That's
so
it.
There's so many things that go into it. But yes, it is true that certain cars and certain teams are better at certain tracks. I like to think that D-Force is pretty good everywhere.
So we got to stop, but we'll have to stop Armstrong here. This isn't like a D-Force commercial right now. You know that, right? We talked about this. But hey, listen, D-Force was really good here last year. Not surprising that they would be decent as well here with Bruno Ribeiro running third, because last year, although we had a shorter grid, but with some super talented drivers last year, D-Force locking out 5 of the 6 podium finishes last year. Quinn knows because he was second in both of those races. We will come back and talk to Quinn about the Continental tires. We moved to Continental this year after many years with Cooper tires. The Continental, I've been told by so many drivers, just a great tire. Everybody's really happy with the way that tire is performing, and the longevity and the actual pace of the tire itself. New track record, as we said here, for Ariel Elkin. So obviously the tire with good speed as well, but we'll talk more about that as we get racing. Elkin's lead was 0.4 of a second last time by. And again, a 20-lap distance. We're 7 laps in here right now. Actually, 6 laps in, working lap number 7. So still early running after that early yellow with the incident with Timothy Carell losing the front wing. He's back on the racetrack, currently running in the 26th position. But again, up front, Ariel Elkin, Jeffers, Ribeiro, Soto Sharipa, McNeely. So we have 4 different teams in the top 5. Inter-MS, Exclusive Autosport, D-Force Racing, and Jay Howard Driver Development, all right now in the top 5. That always illustrates the level of competition and the kind of the quality we have with our teams. So many fantastic teams in this program. Obviously, those of you tuning in to the USF Pro Championships YouTube channel, I always like to take a chance to say hello to those to you. I'm sure the chat is lively here, a very international field. As we know in the program, many years we've always had Brazilian drivers like Bruno Ribeiro here now, of course. You go back through and see Canadian drivers as well, like Anthony Martella. We've got many drivers, as we know, from the United States, but as well drivers from Mexico with the Gonzalez brothers, and, of course, Ariel Elkin from Israel. So a number of different nations in the entire program. And our first event at NOLA Motorsports Park had 67 different drivers, the biggest ever USF Pro Championship pro event. Of course, Anderson Promotions is the company that runs it all, starting back in 2010 with USF 2000. But 67 drivers strong, a fantastic way to start the entire season after launching USF 2000 and USF Pro at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Here's your battle for the lead right now, and Jack Jeffers is slowly starting to close up here on Ariel Elkin as they come out of the final corner of this racetrack, back onto the front straightaway. The front two drivers pulling away, and a little bit of a draft here right now. Jeffers trying to get that run down to the front straightaway. As we said, Quinn, he's going to get that aero wash. How close, is he close enough to get the big aero washer to turn number one, or 3-4 car lengths back? Is he okay?
I think you'll start to feel it there. It's at its worst when you're on top of the guy, very, very close. But yes, I think there will be a little bit. But for every bit of dirty air, there's a bit of tow. So, he's got a nice slipstream going down into turn 5 here now.
Thinks about the bottom of the racetrack into turn number 5. No. As Elkin fades the car a bit, covers off the bottom of the track. So a little bit of a lunge to the inside for Jeffers. But remember, my final thing I talked about, that was that patient pressure and the keys to the race. Right now, Jack Jeffers needs to be patient. He needs to focus. He's a 3-time winner last year, finished third in points, almost challenged you for second spot. It was very tight, Quinn, but Ariel Elkin's pushing hard. He really wants that win. I think that's one of the things to talk about. When you haven't got that first victory, that first win can oftentimes push you into making a mistake because you want it so badly.
Yeah, 100%. There's pressure for both drivers in this scenario, but I think what Jeffers can do here is, just staying there, and maybe you try the odd move. Come the end of the race, there may be some mistakes creeping in the lead from just that pressure, and that's nothing against the guy. It's just the truth of the nature of this competition. We're at a very high level, and there's only a couple mistakes you'll catch every race, so you need to make them happen.
That's exactly that. You're pushing the guy in front of you to try to make that mistake and be ready to pounce. And then, Jeffers with a little bit of exit understeer, or oversteer rather, lost the rear end of the car, but he was able to hold on to it. The pressure is still there, pushing hard here. And I think one of the key things with the drivers here is they only get 3 sets of tires through practice, qualifying, and the 2 races. And that is 2 sets of sticker brand new tires and 1 set of carryover tires that they used for testing earlier on Thursday. So 3 sets in total for 4 sessions. So we'll see who has maybe saved some tires for race number 2. Jeffers puts a lot of pressure here on Elkin. You think macro, and I know you drivers always tell me when I talk about the championship, you guys say, I'm just going to win races and I'll let the championship, play itself out. But for a guy like Jeffers running second right now and Weldon back in 7th, he's significantly back in the points right now. If you look where Jeffers is, he's 44 points back. Finishing second's not the worst thing when the championship challenger is now back there in 7th. But hey, full course caution. Being shown a full course double yellow here at start finish. So something happened on the racetrack here at the halfway point. That will eliminate any advantage anybody had at the racetrack. We'll stack them and pack them back up. But trying to figure out exactly what happened on the racetrack here now. Cameras, of course, will kind of spin around trying to find out, but not quite sure. A driver has gone off track. Visually here from where we are, I can't see it, but I do see one of the AMR USF Pro Championship safety cars working its way down the back straightaway. So listen, Quinn, we can talk about the fact that at the end of that back chute, coming into 10, 11, 12, 13, that is a tough part of this racetrack where you are rolling a lot of speed.
Yeah, the Alabama roller coaster.
It's a tough place.
It's awesome in quali. You got to love the place. But then in the race, when you're going side by side and stuff like that, it gets tricky and it gets tight.
So a driver here potentially off to driver's right. I'm trying to figure out where that part of the racetrack is. Is that turn 1? It's turn 1, yeah, indeed. So listen, how many times do we see drivers go off over there? If you went off too hard and you get into that gravel, you could potentially be well off the racetrack. Can't quite see exactly who that is at this point here, but let's have a look when they come. But once they come back around, we should be able to see who has fallen to the tail of the field. Let me quickly have a look here who's potentially down to the back here. That might be Joshua Leonel, and a little wince here from Quinn Armstrong, his teammate at D-Force. It might be a Leonel who's gone off in turn number 1. Everybody else getting 10 laps in. So a Leonel making his debut here this weekend for D-Force Racing. We were told we do have a replay of this, so let's have a look at what happened to Joshua Leonel. We talk about how tough that corner is. You're carrying so much speed downhill through turn 1. When you get off of the other side, you can see there's the area that you're able to get off. Yeah, he has to do a full course correction coming through the corner. There's no way he's even getting around. So again, we'll see if we can't get a chance to re-rack that and see it again. Quinn, let me move my laptop so you can have a better look at this here, and you can have a feel for what it is, because I feel like from what we see, his angle coming out of turn one, like he maybe had some snap, potentially on the entry of the corner, maybe had some snap oversteer and had to recorrect the car. So here it is again. We'll watch here to the right side of the screen. Everybody's angle coming through that corner and pitching it back down. Yeah, you could actually pick it up there. So talk about mid-corner snap oversteer coming through one.
Yeah, so due to the nature of the corner, it starts off flat on the entry, and you'll slow it down and you'll feel comfortable, good. But then it's such a decline going down into the apex that you actually can build speed. And especially when you want to be, going towards the power, that it's very easy. And obviously, if you do start to put in the power, the rear starts to settle with the mid-engine. And that means that the patch, the grip on the rear tires is more, and the front sort of lifts a little bit. And then that in turn causes a little bit of oversteer. So, it's an easier mistake to be made, and it's just one of those things that's racing. It's something everyone's going to do at 100%. One point.
Yep.
It's part of learning, and I think that in these scenarios, the best thing to do is learn from them. Not to. Don't get me wrong; it's very easy to get upset by it. I mean, I would be, as well. But it's also such a good chance to use this to learn from it and motivate you to do better and change it.
There's so many different layers of the learning process too, Quinn. Obviously, learning from what you did in the racetrack. This has happened. This is the way. Number one, I'll try to do something so it doesn't happen again. I've already been through the reaction of it happening once, so I've had the feel of what I should have done, maybe should have done to fix it. But then you mentioned the mental side of it, right? You're going to be down on yourself. You're going to be, hit yourself. But that's the other side of this. We got another race coming this afternoon, so Joshua's going to have to sit down, get himself back in the right mindset, right? Learn from that, focus, and then have himself prepared once again, 100% to go racing in the second race of the day.
Yeah, I look at that as a beautiful thing, to be honest. I'm thinking in my head, because the way I look at it from my mindset is we've got another chance to make this right here, And, there's a little saying that you don't go home until you're proud. So whatever that may be, you don't go home until you're proud. So whether that means even if it was the last race and something goes wrong, all right, you do data for another half an hour. Whatever it takes to make you feel a little bit better about yourself, that's what you got to do. That's the difference, and that's how I believe you can develop and become a stronger and better driver.
I'll tell you this, Quinn, it's been really enjoyable for me to watch you develop over the last couple of years. It's great to have you in the booth. I first had a chance to meet Quinn at VIR back in 2022 when he came over to run USF Juniors. Very impressive last year. And as I said, folks, this driver out of Australia, 5 straight top 10s to start off the season in USF 2000. But a great launch of the season for him. He'll be back on the racetrack at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course when USF 2000 gets back at it once again. So, I did this at St. Pete, and I'll do it again. I'll do the promotion for you here. So if you are a company that loves motorsports and wants to support a driver back in Australia, this is one I think that you need to look at. Quinn Armstrong, so very impressive. Being told you might be sitting down to chat with one of Australia's best ever this weekend sometime.
Yes, Will Power. So I very much am looking forward to that opportunity. That's I think every Australian racing driver would say they would love to have this opportunity. So. Going to make the most of it.
Well, again, just a great to have Quinn Armstrong in here for D-Force Racing. Make sure to follow him at the end of the show. Actually, right now, we have time here right now. Where do they follow you on social media? People want to follow you. I know that we have a lot of people, obviously, back home in Australia that always watch the broadcast. How can they follow you on social?
Yeah, so I have my Instagram, which is Quinn_Armstrong_, and that's a pretty easy way to see what's going on my life, and as well as my website, Quinn Armstrong Racing. That's also a very good way to contact me. My email's on there for any sort of inquiries or anything.
And listen, this is the interesting thing. We've talked a lot about all the fantastic Australian drivers that have come over to be part of this USF Pro Championships, who have worked their way up to the NTT IndyCar Series. Even a Will Power needed somebody to step up to help him get here, right? That's the bottom line. So again, Aussie fans, Aussie racing fans, Quinn Armstrong, write that one down in the book, and if you can help him continue his season, because I don't think the full budget is yet there for the season for Quinn Armstrong. And after 5 straight top 10s to start the season, he has obviously shown the consistency is there to bring the car home every weekend, and I guarantee a win just around the corner for this young driver. Let's give you a full field rundown here as our Honda Civic Type R still rolling around there right now to pace our field here. 12 laps now in the books. I don't know if we'll go green this next time by. If we do, that will be lap 13, so it could be 7 to go. Ariel Elkin with the lead. Jack Jeffers putting the pressure on there from P2. Bruno Ribeiro in third, Augusto Soto Chiripa and Liam McNeely rounding out the top 5. Evan Cooley runs 6th ahead of Sebastian Weldon. Leandro Juncos in 8th. Max Taylor 9th and Joao Vergara in 10th. Teddy Musella up to 11th. G3 Argyros in 12th. Leonardo Scorpione 13th ahead of Brady Golan and Anthony Martella. Rodrigo Gonzalez in 16th. 17th Aiden Ingrata. 18th, 19th, 20th Patricio Gonzalez, Christian Cameron, and Ava Dobson. Aiden Potter runs in 21st. Michael Succo, the local driver from Birmingham, Alabama, up into 22nd. Diego Guillo in 23rd. Giovanni Cabrera, 24th. Timothy Carell, Joshua Lionel, 25th and 26th. Lionel involved in the incident over in Turn 1. Hudson Potter with damage on the opening, in the final practice session of the morning warm-up. Is a no starter for this month. We'll see him back for race 2. We'll go green this time by. Now, those of you who are trackside enjoying, of course, what we have on track here right now, what's to come here today. Of course, right after here, we have the Porsche Sprint Challenge practice coming up. Indy Next practice at 1:30. IndyCar practice at 2:40. 2 o'clock, folks, up in our paddock area, second tier of the paddock behind the tower. Our autograph session for these drivers in USF Juniors. Come up and join us at 2 o'clock. Green flag flying starting here as we're underway. Did have a driver, I think, potentially off the racetrack on that restart. Not sure who that was, but Ariel Elkin doing a good job to handle the opening start, but some chaos further back as we did see a driver, I believe, off to the inside of the final corner of the track here. Up front, though, they're back underway. Elkin there. Ribeiro's going to block to the inside. He's going to run the bottom. You see, he's onto the bottom. On the outside comes Soto Chiripa. See if he can get a better run out of the corner. And again, once we settle in, we forgot to go back to Quinn about that, talking about how you can run the outside at turn number 5. We will get to him. Still green right now. We said we had a driver who went off the racetrack. It might have been the 19 of Patricio Gonzalez. Not quite sure, but we'll try to figure that out. You can see the kind of chaotic racing a bit further back as they're side by side coming down through this downhill corner, kind of a right-left situation. We're climbing up over top of the curbing mid-corner. But there's your lead already coming down to the back part of this racetrack for Ariel Elkin. Another opportunity, though, for Jack Jeffers to potentially pull away and get at it. He's P2 right now, needs a solid finish, and is doing a good job up front. Indeed, we do have another caution. So the incident, there it is. There's the 19. That's coming down to the final corner of this racetrack. So, again, the 19 of Patricio Gonzalez with some damage on that restart. So another yellow flag, or third of the 20-lapper here. Still a long time in terms of time. Looks like some rear wing damage there, and I think potentially left rear damage. So I got to say somebody probably drove into the back of him, Quinn, as opposed to him making a mistake and going off track.
Yeah, it's pretty easy on the restarts, and the concertina effect of being further towards the back, and then it gets a little bit messy all the time, and it's just part of it. It's unfortunate, it really is, but it happens, and that's the truth.
Well, the thing is, one day you're the guy that makes the mistake. One day you're the guy that gets taken out, right? So I always say when you've been taken out, it's probably smart to not be too vocal, because you could be the guy that's getting yelled at the next time. It's just that easy, right?
Yeah, it's part of racing.
It's part of racing.
Don't get me wrong. Look, there's parts of racing that everyone loves. You know, the glamour, the racecraft, things like this. But like every sport in the world, there's also things that are not as good.
You're not old enough to remember the wild world of sports, but it used to be the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. That's what they used to say, and it's so true. But again, there's ups and downs. I don't know that there's as many ups and downs in sport as there is in motorsports, because there's always that cash value that's sometimes attached to an incident. You're either not winning the money if you're a pro, or if you're at our level, the invoice for damage is always pretty big. So these cars are very expensive, as we know that the cars here are worth about $130,000 for USF Juniors. Just fantastic race cars built by Tatis in Italy. But again, you make mistakes, and it's gonna be costly, and that's why. Listen, this is why I kind of lean towards you again. And those 5 straight top 10 finishes to start the season. It's check mark number 1. You drove the car back to the paddock and back to the tent at the end of the weekend. That's or end of the race. That's key for you. And again, for a guy on a short budget like you are, you got to make sure that you're not getting crash damage.
Yeah, exactly what you say. There's the budget you bring into the weekend, but then if you crash, it becomes a bit bigger.
And you're taking maybe you're taking budget away from the next race or whatever.
Exactly.
It is, right?
It just makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
It makes it harder on yourself. And yes, like financially, but even mentally, you know, it's such a, it can be draining if you are struggling to finish a race and you just want to get one on the board every once in a while. So I think, yeah, that's such a key part, is finishing is the first step.
Yeah. To finish first you must finish. We've heard that many times. Does it change your mindset sometimes, though? I know that obviously the best you can hope for. Okay, look, we got some more addition. This is the car here of the number 19. We'll come back and look at this very briefly. The number 19 of Gonzalez, they are still getting this done. It looks, I think, up to the right side of the screen. I think we've got a couple. Yeah, there's another car involved as well. It might be Christian Cameron. I think that's the VRD machine of Christian Cameron out of Sonoma, California. Looks like he was involved as well. I don't know. They haven't said anything for the truck yet that we may have a look at that. It was very late, I think, when we saw it start. So I don't know that we have a review of the incident that happened, but that's a couple of drivers involved there, both Christian Cameron and Patricio Gonzalez involved in that incident. I think Michael Succo may have been involved briefly because I think he went to pit lane and came back out. Michael's back on the racetrack. So we are going to have a bit of a replay here on this one here to have a look at it. It's going to be very tough, folks. You're not going to see a bunch here, but we do have a bit of a replay look at the incident. Here they are coming through here. Okay, this is good. And again, look further back in the field, near the tail of the field. That's where this incident happens, outside the top 20, I believe. Oh, there. Oh. Yeah, one of the drivers kind of checked up a little bit, had some trouble. Maybe wheel spin, I think. What do you think, Quinn? Let's have another look at, if we can have a look at that, guys, we'll get the expert here and not the talking head. Yeah, we'll let Quinn Armstrong have a look at this further back. We kind of were able to pinpoint where it was. Now in a second look, we'll be able to give you a little bit more insight. But yeah, it looks like somebody potentially checked up, and at that point, we've talked about the accordion effect, it's always the collateral damage further back.
Yeah. So if the guy in the front uses 10% brake, once you get halfway through the field, here we go. So you can see there's a bit of a gap in between one of the cars and, oh, yeah.
I think that one of the drivers here, I think Gonzalez got into the back of Succo, and that kind of pushed Succo sideways, maybe lifted the rear of the car up a little bit, maybe, right? And then, of course, Cameron with nowhere to go ends up driving into the back of him.
Yeah, so I probably what happens there is, you know, you try to look a couple cars in front on the restart because you want to see the leader go, but if you can't see the leader, you know, you go off of P4 if that's as far up as you can see. So whether Patricio or Gonzalez was looking further in front, saw, you know, green, but then, you know, the car in front was not as ready to go, maybe.
Yeah, and it's the accordion effect, as I said. So, again, we're losing another lap here. Looks to me like the AMR IndyCar safety crew very close. They've got both cars up on the back of the hook right now. At that point, it won't take long to get them in, make sure the track is clean and green. It looks like they brought the ambulance out potentially for Christian Cameron, but in my mind, that's just going to be, if anything, it's going to be potential wrist or something like that, you know, because that wasn't enough of a contact to do anything but potentially jerk the wheel out of your hand.
Yeah, but they, you know, sometimes on impact you can get a little bit banged up on the wrist, but he should be okay, I hope.
So, again, here's a quick replay of the top 10. Elkin, Jeffers, Ribeiro, Soto Sharipa, McNeely, top 5. Cooley, 6th. Weldon, 7th. Juncos, 8th. Taylor, 9th. Vergara in 10th. Lap 16 in the books. Remember, it's a 20-lapper. We're lining this thing up to potentially have a 2-lap dash for the race win. So, thinking about that, obviously, Jack Jeffers, everybody looking to push forward to see if they can't go for the race win. Let's go back to turn 5. We've been kind of dancing around it here. The thing about turn 5 is, even if someone gets to the inside of you, unless you're clear and kind of wash out of it, you can run around the outside of 5. Let's talk about the fact that there is grip on the outside, and really, once you get to the apex of 5, it's kind of the chase up to the exit point. If you can beat the guy to the exit point, you've got the spot still.
Yeah, 100%. It's the exit. It's whoever's got the nose ahead. So that's the truth. But the line for passing can be either or. So
you can pass around the outside too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Like if you see the guy, you know, it's all about when you come up over the crest. So turn 4 is pretty blind until you get there, but then you always need to analyze what's going on in front of you. So if you see cars stacking up on the inside, me as a driver, I'm not totally against to then going, okay, well, let's go fill the space on the outside. And the best way to work the outside is you got to brake light. Like you got to go hard in and then try your hardest to drive it off the exit. Obviously, you got a wider radius on the corner then. So you can open your hands and try and drive off the corner a little bit better than the guys on the inside who may be pinching. But then at the same time, if you do see the gap on the inside, then again, you go for that because it's less meters down on the inside as well. So if you can try and clear them at the apex, your happy days and you're laughing all the way to turn 7.
That's it. Lights, I believe, out on the pace car now. So I think we're going to go back to green. That'll be lap 17. So we could be lining ourselves up here now for a 3-lap dash. And again, opportunities to pass. We've talked about it, down into turn number 5, potentially into the 7-8 complex as well. And then, of course, 9-10, the very quick corner. Then that 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 part of that racetrack where you're super quick going through 10, 11, and 12. Over a rise into 13 up to 14. It's such a tough part of this racetrack. Lining things back up again. Like I said, folks, it's going to be a 3-lap battle to cap things off. Elkin, Jeffers, Ribeiro, and Soto Sharipa, top 4 drivers. Liam McNeely, a winner from round number 2 at NOLA, right there as well. This thing is far from done. Elkin has handled a couple of restarts already. He gets the punch off when he wants. Coming out of turn number 14 over to turn 15. And we will be back to racing. Everybody clean and green. Green flag flying. Elkin, what kind of a jump does he get as he works his way onto the front straightaway? Is Jeffers close enough to run here with him? He is. He's within a length and a half. Right there, the battle as well. Soto Sharipa looking to the inside. Dive down to the inside for Soto Sharipa. Can he hold the spot? He'll go wide. Back up top. And he gets to the inside. Very tough one there. Soto Sharipa went off the racetrack, but brought it back on. Wise move for Ribeiro not to fight him. They're side by side coming through the Alabama roller coaster. Back up top. Driver spinning. That is Ribeiro right in the middle of the racetrack. Ribeiro. Oh, and he gets hammered. Contact coming out of the turn 4. Ribeiro looped it around, potentially dropping a wheel, was right in the middle of the racetrack, and one of the Jay Howard driver development cars hammered him. Call this one done because the yellow flag has come out, and unless we go red, this one is going to finish under yellow. That was big contact on the rear car, or part of the car. That might be Soto Sharipa in the gravel trap at turn number 5. No, the exit of 5 is actually one of the Zanella cars with left rear damage. You can see that to the right side of the screen. So left rear damage on one of the Zanella cars. Not quite sure which driver it is because the wing is gone. It's either the 55 or the 12. Wow. That was tough because those drivers did a pretty good job hanging side by side. Yeah, the wing is gone, so they can't see the number, even though we're close up there on that car. Everybody on the scene right now, because that was hard impact, as we said. I want to say 4 cars involved now down between turn 4 and turn number 5. The AMR crew quickly out to all the drivers. Timothy Carell off track as well. We have crews to every car at this point here. Yellow flag flying, as I said. We are yellow. I would not be surprised if we went red. There's another shot there. There's the car of Bruno Ribeiro. And here's the one thing. We got to turn around. If these cars can get rebuilt, we're back on track. Again, we talk about the fact that, again, we are opening the false grid at 3:45. That is 5 hours from now. We're going to get a look as they come back around here onto the straightaway. Race control is elected to keep this yellow. So that's going to put lap 18 in the books. This is probably, I would think this is going to lock it down. Unless we went to green right now, we'd come back again and have one pace lap. I think the field, this race is probably done. So Elkin P1, Jefferson second, Soto Sharipa third, McNeely fourth, and Evan Cooley now up to 5th. We do have a replay. I'll come back and look at the grid here momentarily, but let's have a look at the replay that happened. When they came back over the hill, Ribeiro somehow went around. He was spinning. So here they come. There's your leader. There's Elkin. And coming to the top of the hill, Ribeiro starts to lose it. So he's already, they're already through. So there's the top 10 drivers coming through. He's looping it around. What they say, when you spin, 2 feet in, meaning clutch and brake. Drivers doing a great job getting by. Okay, so not quite. I believe that was probably La Scorpione gets them, and there's the major contact there. And these cars are designed specifically to shed the parts on this kind of damage. When you see the shrapnel like that, that's because these parts are designed to give way so that the impact, the force, gets distributed throughout the components. Let's see if we can get that shot again. I was looking at the Scorpione. I'd like to have one more shot of that. Timothy Carroll out of the car and fine from where I can see here visually. Looks like the same, I believe, for the car to the other car to the right side. Here's the replay once again, folks. So here's the spin. He's just, you can see the rear wheel spinning. He's on throttle. He's lost control coming up the hill. I don't know if there was contact between him or not. You're going to see the black and yellow machine as he spins through. Watch the black and yellow machine come out to the outside. Just narrowly missed there. Hits the left rear of Soto Sharipa, and then these Jay Howard drivers who are all lining up, nowhere to go, and clears off the left side of that one Jay Howard car. A Scorpione, might have been Ava Dobson, I think, involved in that. Diego Guillo was the driver off as well. So I want to say that was Ava Dobson, who, of course, Quinn, let's talk about this. When you're in the cockpit, you're laying on your back, essentially. You're coming over the ride. Now, number one, you're coming over the rise. You're in a pack, and all of a sudden, people they start to spread wide, and there's a car there. There's absolutely nothing you can do at that point.
Yeah, I really don't put much fault on any of those people. You know, I think that the people that then hit Bruno, like, they didn't have a chance to react. Like, that's the truth. But even you can see, and I feel like there's a misconception maybe you can see, because when Bruno is backwards, it looks like he comes back towards the racing line, but what happens is when you hit the brakes, you end up moving like that because of the rear brake pressure. So that's why it looks like he's come back on. Like, I can tell you now, that was not malicious intent. That was not him going, if I'm going down, I'm taking someone with me. Like, he's not, that was just the car does what the car does sort of thing. So
the dynamics of the car. He had the brake on and the clutch on, and it just kept moving.
Yeah, so that's really unfortunate for all of them, you know, because it's,
And let's talk about the fact that we talk about the Alabama roller coasters. You come down the hill at a 3, back up. You're coming back up a hill. You can't see anything on the top part of the track as you're literally just cresting the hill in a pack. And that's that's happened before in IndyCar. Checkered flag going to fly across the line, and Ariel Elkin will be the winner. We'll call this on lap number 19. Elkin with the win. Jack Jeffers in second. Augusto Soto Sharipa makes it 2 Inter-MS drivers on the top 3. Liam McNeely finishing in 4th. Evan Cooley 5th. Sebastian Weldon 6th. Leandro Juncos in 7th. Max Taylor up to 8th. Joao Figueira 9th. And in his debut for Zanella Racing, Teddy Musella ends up in 10th. A great run for Musella there. Drivers involved in the incident: Bruno Ribera, Leonardo Scorpione, Ava Dobson, Diego Guillo as well. I'm not sure where Diego went off. Those were the drivers involved. Timothy Carell, too, off track. I don't think as much damage to Carell's machine as he's off drivers left. But nonetheless, there you have it, as the drivers will come around. A first victory for Inter-MS. Ariel Elkin with the win through a bit of a crash field. Not so much crash field, but incident field, as we had a wing early. And an incident on the restart over, as we know, in turn number 14. Then this big wreck here as we went back at it for a driver spinning in the middle of the track, and there's not much you can do at all. There's going to be work to be done, though, over at D-Force. Joshua Lionel and Bruno Ribeiro involved in a heavy incident, so they'll be working to get those cars back together to get themselves to the grid by 3:45. We have a 4:15 green flag for USF Juniors for race number 2. Remember, folks, all these drivers will be at the autograph session at 2 o'clock up in our paddock by our series trailer, so feel free to come up to the second level of the paddock at 2 o'clock. There is your unofficial results. Ariel Elkin, Jeffers, Soto Sharipa, McNeely, and Cooley top 5. Weldon, Juncos, Taylor, Fagara, and Masello top 10. Your podium, though, Elkin, Jeffers, and Soto Sharipa. Both those drivers needing the points to close back up here on the leader, who finished down in 6th. That is Sebastian Weldon. There's the remainder of the results. Quinn, I'll let you go back. They're probably going to put a wrench in your hand. You probably have some work to do. At least you're going to have to sit down and debrief for the drivers anyways. But listen, thank you so much. A lot of great insight, having driven here before, the success you've had. Thank you so much for coming up and helping me out in the booth, and best of luck. Look forward to seeing you in Indianapolis.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Thank you for inviting me back up, and yeah, back to my other job now.
Let's do the selfie like we're supposed to do here. So, of course, victory celebrations coming here momentarily. I will hang out here in the booth until they kind of roll in here before we get things underway. We'll go to a quick cut on the commercial for those of you watching on the broadcast, but stay with us. We will have podium celebrations live here on the feed. But again, as I said, we'll wait till those drivers get down into victory lane and get an opportunity to see the celebration for Ariel Elkin. A big win for the driver who has got a ton of experience, most of it coming in karting, a top-level world karting driver. Ariel Elkin does a lot of racing over here in the U.S. as well, as run with the Race Lab and TB Kart program, was a top 5 finisher last 2 years actually, at the SuperKarts USA Super Nationals in Las Vegas, the biggest karting event every year held out in Las Vegas for the last 26 years. And Ariel coming over and doing a great job there as well. But this is huge for him, this victory. Coming in 4th place in points. This is going to move him up nicely and close him up onto Sebastian Weldon. A lot of carnage, though, out there right now with so many drivers getting involved in the incident coming out over the rise of turn number 4. Thankfully, from what I see, most drivers are fine. We'll get an update on that to make sure to follow the feed. But coming into the pit lane, the 25, Ariel Elkin. They'll bring the cars right into pit lane, and we'll walk them over to victory lane here at Barber Motorsports Park. But again, you're going to see a very focused young man coming out of the car here right now, Ariel Elkin for Inter MS. First and third for that team, and he will be pumped up for sure. There it is. The emotion, as I said, for these young drivers. This is starting your career. You need to have these wins to move forward, and that's the team owner right there as well. I love it. Super happy for everybody there. He is pumped up, and I know fans of Ariel back in Israel and throughout the world cheering him on for a huge victory here. And again, once the helmet comes off, you'll see the pure emotion from that driver here. Great run as well for Jack Jefferson, Augusto Soto Sharipa to get to the podium here in race number 1. But there he is, folks. Ariel Elkin, a big victory for the young driver from Israel. He is now a winner in the USF Pro Championships for Inter MS. We'll now go to victory lane, folks. Stand by. When we get back after these quick messages, we will be in victory lane.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
And they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams a reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.
It's a fresh start. It's a career's on the line. It's a great chapter. I think everybody's goal is to win a championship.
All this year is wanting to work together and making a good championship season out of
It's
it.
the reason to keep me alive and the reason to keep me pushing.
I mean a lot since I can keep going up the ladder.
Seeing all those champions and wanting to become part of that list.
The drivers are racing aggressive with me, I'll race aggressive with them.
The scholarship is incredibly important. It's obviously the goal for every driver. I'm going to rewrite what happened last year in terms of that rivalry with him getting the best of me. When you win a race, it's the best feeling ever. The field is stacked.
Hopefully this year we can have good luck. Having the scholarship money to move up next year is really all I'm aiming for.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
And they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.
It's a fresh start. It's a career's on the line. It's a great chapter. I think everybody's goal is to win a championship.
All this year is wanting to work together and making a good championship season out of it.
It's the reason to keep me alive and the reason to keep me pushing.
I mean, a lot since I can keep going up the ladder.
All those champions and wanting to become part of that list.
The drivers are racing aggressive with me, I'll race aggressive with them.
The scholarship is incredibly important. It's obviously the goal for every driver. It's going to rewrite what happened last year in terms of that rivalry with him getting the best of me. When you win a race, it's the best feeling ever. The field is stacked.
Hopefully this year we can have good luck. Having the scholarship money to move up next year is really all I'm aiming for.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.
It's a fresh start. It's a career's on the line. It's a great chapter. I think everybody's goal is to win a championship.
All this year is wanting to work together and making a good championship season out of
It's
it.
the reason to keep me alive and the reason to keep me pushing.
I mean, a lot since I can keep going up the ladder.
All those champions and wanting to become part of that
The
list.
drivers are racing aggressive with me, I'll race aggressive with them.
The scholarship is incredibly important. It's obviously the goal for every driver. It's going to rewrite what happened last year in terms of that rivalry with him getting the best of me. When you win a race, it's the best feeling ever. The field is stacked.
Hopefully this year we can have good luck. Having the scholarship money to move up next year is really all I'm aiming for.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams a reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.